In my humble experience, trauma is not just about one incident. It can be. It could be a series of collective, accumulative experiences that eventually becomes too much for us. And in fact, I do know through our wonderful guest from our last program, Dr. Alfie Brulin-Noble, it's called the weathering effect, right? It's like you're standing in front of a hurricane, and then just over time, it just wears you down. So I just want to acknowledge that, because some of us may not have experienced what we described as one particular incident, but it's a series of incidents that have an accumulation effect. So Samir, is anything you want to say as a final note to our participant about this topic, about not just being an individual experience, but somehow collectively? Please go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Venier. Just to look at it at a collective level, the systemic issues, it's quite overwhelming. But I think the way it has to be addressed is individually. It has to be addressed. There has to be a balance of micro and macro level balance, where some of us who've had the privilege of information. It's just not the privilege of lifestyle, privilege of information. There's a certain which way we've been conditioned to, we've been brought up, go to school, get a job, go to university, get married. And a lot of the times we've not asked ourselves these questions. Where do these questions, or where do these ideas come from? Where does that blueprint come from, you know? Some of us, we've had the opportunity to explore that. We've been constantly asking ourselves those questions, and we've been exposed to different methods, from, you know, psychotherapy to yoga retreats or meditation or different. It's been spoken about in all different wisdoms, all religions, for hundreds and thousands of years. It's kind of like current society, the way we've been living for the past 50 to 100 years, we've sort of like forgotten about that. Money and technology has brought in a lot of different things. Because of money and because of technology, because of capitalism, we're being able to connect from all parts of the world. But also at the same time, we've kind of like forgotten, you know, some ancient practices that we used to know not too long ago. So I think it has to start from, to address the systemic issues, we have to start from individuals. And in the form of, like, I have had the privilege to live in different parts of the world, and there are support groups, and especially even in Bangladesh, we have support groups when it comes to addiction, when it comes to recovery from addiction and alcoholism. Our support groups are pretty strong. It's still pretty it's early stages, but it's still there. So when it comes, it's people who've experienced this, people who've been educating themselves and these issues when it comes to wellness, mindfulness, recovery. If you want to bring all of that under one umbrella, I think the key point is communication and application, and basically teaching. I shouldn't use the word teaching, but exposing your friends, your core group, to these ideas, to these philosophies, and showing them that not always, like, you don't always need access to money. I mean, the internet is an amazing resource. There's YouTube, and then there's the different practices, I think, which we're going to get to. Yes. So it has to be a long-term goal for us as individuals, where we have to understand that it's not going to change in one day. For me, this is the dream I have for Bangladesh, that is going to take, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 years, but it's definitely going to happen. We've started this conversation. And even during the pandemic, I mean, I personally have been working in this sector for, I don't know, what, 12 or 13 years. But it's in this recent year, we had to go through this crisis for everyone to realize, these people were most used to, like, going to work, earning a lot of money and being really happy with that. When they were left to their own devices, where work was removed, they got that, they had to ask themselves a lot of questions, where their identity was, when their identity was completely attached to their work. So it was quite, can I use the word? I can't say poetic, but it was quite, it was quite amazing to see that, like, people that I still respect, people who are really successful in different areas in their respective careers, they were, like, for the want of a better explanation, losing their minds, you know, during the pandemic, during the lockdown. So what some of us were trying to do, we're trying to again, introduce these different methods of meditation or sharing, just the basic art of sharing. So to come back to your question, I think it has to start from individually, and to educate, communicate, and help our people who are closest to us, start off this conversation with people who are closest to us, and then it'll grow. It's not going to happen one day. And like I said, I believe in 20 to 30 years, Bangladesh will be in a really good place, not just economically, but also in terms of mental health. The conversation has started, and I think it's a really pivotal time what we're going through.